raise your hand if you're listening. Your other hand if you're standing quietly. Good, thank you. So my name's Mr. Williams, and a lot of our state parks in Wisconsin have lakes, and that's part of what makes them really popular. Rocky Arbor doesn't. It does have a marsh, and that's why this time is a good time to come to Rocky Arbor, because the mosquitoes have not hatched out yet, hopefully. Although there may be ticks. Ticks are usually out anytime it's above freezing. So the name of this Rocky Arbor, you might expect you're going to see rocks and trees. Duh, that's right. That's the attraction here, is the rocks. What was going on like 12, 15,000 years ago in Wisconsin geologically? Yes?
Glaciers.
Glaciers. And the glaciers at that point built up, created a dam that created huge Lake Wisconsin, much bigger than Lake Wisconsin is right now. And it covered a big area around here. But then as the glaciers melted, the ice dam broke and just rushed through all of this stuff. And you guys have been studying rocks, right? A couple weeks ago, a month ago, or something like that. So what kind of rocks do you think are around here? Yes? Sandstone. Sandstone on the scale, the mole scale of rock hardness, is pretty low. It's a pretty soft rock. So as that glacier dam broke, that huge lake just rushed through this area and created the dells, all the wonderful bluffs along the river. And it created this kind of thing that you see here today, just rushing through and carving out the sandstone, not over millions of years, but over maybe a week, because it's sandstone. But we're still going to see a lot of the sandstone there. So that's what we're going to be looking at, the rocks. And so we're not just going to walk through, we're going to appreciate it. We're going to walk slowly. It's not a big park. We're going to go in the lower section first, and at one point in the middle of this marsh is this huge outcropping of sandstone. It almost looks like a huge ship. But it's sandstone that somehow didn't get washed away or knocked down by the glaciers, because the glaciers didn't come here. It's very quiet right now. But if it warms up, if it really gets, to close to 50 by the time we get done with our hike, it might be a little bit noisier. And this is a great place for frogs. And they just make all kinds of great noises. So in this part of Wisconsin, we don't have too many different kinds of frogs. So the spring peepers are one of the earliest ones. And they just go beep, 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 beep. Okay, everybody do that. Yes! You guys are great. And then another early one are the leopard frogs. And the other day we were on the bike trail. If I go like
Here's
this,
a frog concert for
I'm going to
you.
point to certain ones. You go louder, softer, or stop. Okay. Peepers.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, louder. Leopard frogs. Peepers.
Come up here, so we're out of the way. Don't touch that. And that's
Okay, listening. Raise your hand if you're listening. Oh, good. Your teachers are lucky to have this group. This is all right. So we stopped here for several reasons. I hope you've been looking at the marshy area and the algae that are growing. But also, there's several things about this rock, and there is different hardness in sandstone. They call it the Waniwak sandstone, or guys, it's hard to talk over anybody. So there's different levels, and you can see here, this level right here got washed away more than the one up there, so that's probably a little harder sandstone. But also, those of you who can see, there's lines going at different angles here. So the rocks can tell a story. If you really become a rock star, oh, that was supposed to be funny. If you really become, yeah, thanks, a rock star, you can tell a story about when they're slanted like that, because all the sandstone was at some time underwater. So some of it maybe was hard waves, maybe some of it was on land and being blown, but it's all different. But if you look up at that one level right there, it's got all these little holes. And at some point the water was up that high and little stones were rolling around in there.
There's another one up there.
It's just hard to imagine that at one point, not only were we underwater up here, but the whole area maybe was in a different position in the world over millions of years. And you can tell here too, if you take a look at this, it doesn't have any lichen, it's not turned brown, so something has eroded that. It's broken it away. It could have been nature, it could have been ice, could have been plants, could have been people chipping away at it, all different kinds of things. So again, just keep observing. This is
Now we're walking on the top at Rocky Arbor State Park.
maybe they get adapted up here, I don't know. But it certainly is loud. We're right in the downs, right by the interstate here, and we've got this wonderful nature area. Just one more thing to be thinking about. Maggio, did you have anything you wanted to say?
No, but that's a really important thing we don't often think about. But noise pollution is something that affects wildlife. Yep.
Well, we've left Rocky Arbor. Now we're at Mirror Lake State Park for lunch. They were hungry. They found some places. Look like turtles or snakes sunning themselves after a long winter, soaking up the heat in the sunshine. After lunch, we're going to do some games near the beach and also a hike around Echo Rock. It's after lunch. One group is going hiking, one group is going toward the beach. Do some activities, and we're going to do a hike around Echo Rock. Checking out the boardwalk here.
Wait, guys, who wants to go swimming in the ocean? What?
They've eaten lunch and are full of energy. Miss Nelson's group is going hiking first.
About science and doing a service project. So I first want to make sure you understand, what does it mean that some place is a state park? Do you know? Do you know what it means that it's a state park? What does it mean?
Hunter.
You want to help her out?
That is protected, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, it is protected. Who is it owned by? You know?
I don't.
Yeah, it's owned by the state of Wisconsin, so it's public property that you can come to any time with your families, right? We do Soak does camps here in the summer. So that is awesome. Who pays for it?
The state.
Where does the state get money from? Taxes, right? So there's a little bit of federal funding, but most of the funding for these parks comes from people's taxes, right? So you should feel like this is also everyone else's too, right? Which is why we want to take care of it. So when we're along this trail today, there's going to be a few different things I want you guys to focus on. We focused on rocks while we were out at Rocky Arbor. But have you guys talked about ecology in science much this year yet at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, does anyone know what ecology is? Okay, what's the first part of the word?
Eco.
Eco, what does that mean?
Ecosystem. Hunter.
Ecosystems, right? What else?
Biome.
Yeah, so a biome is a whole section of the earth that has a certain type of ecosystem. So in ecology, we study how the living things work together with the non-living things, right? So what are a few non-living things you see around you that are part of nature? Tell me one.
Trees.
No, non-living. Let's start with non-living. We'll get to living in a second. Yeah.
Dirt.
Soil, very important. What else?
The car right there in the ground.
Okay, so let's stick with nature, not human-made though. Yep.
Rocks.
Rocks. Anything else? Point, right? I think I'd vote for non-living though. You're right. All right, living things. People I haven't heard from yet. Tell me one living thing.
Tree.
Yeah, you did the trees. Good. What else?
Rats.
Yeah.
I was gonna say grass.
Oh, she took it from me. Go ahead.
The bugs.
Yep. Yeah, we don't have a lot of lizards in Wisconsin, but there's a couple, right? What else? You guys, eyes this way again. Thank you. So you guys pointed out grass, different plants, but I want to show you something unique to this season, okay? So if you're right here, right in front, squat down a little bit because some people behind you can't see. Do you see these little tinies?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to take one out because this is a bad plant. It just has these tiny, sprouts. And then in the middle you can see true leaves starting to come out. So this is spring, right? The seeds that were in the soil, waiting for the winter to pass, waiting for the warmth, are just starting to sprout. And these ones that are all over are area, it's a bad thing that they're growing this abundant, okay? When an invasive comes in and spreads its seedlings all over native plants that have been here for hundreds of years that are meant to grow in this forest. So we'll learn a little bit about that. We're going to stop at the end of this path, but it's pretty short. I want you to make some observations about living things and signs of spring. So when you're passing these scraggles that you see everywhere, I want you to actually look for buds, right? Like this branch right here, is it alive or dead?
Dead. Alive.
Raise your hand if you think it's alive. Raise your hand if you think it's dead. Raise your hand if you know how to tell if it's alive or dead. Because it's not just a guessing game, right? All right, what makes you say it's dead? You sound convinced because you said it twice out loud. What's his name? Bryson? Bison? Why is it dead? Why are you confident that it's dead? But why? Give me a clue that it's dead.
Oh yeah, there's not many leaves.
So many of these plants all around us have leaves right now. No, because it's too early in spring, right? So we can't just look at a stick in nature right now and tell if it's alive or dead or not unless we look close. What do you think?
I think it's alive because of these little buds.
Okay, you guys, if you just look close as you walk, you're going to notice that some of these branches have little buds on them. These are like baby leaves about to sprout out. be something the most of one certain kind of plant. Like when you looked at them, looked like there was a lot of the same. Yeah. Okay, there are a lot of patches of the one same plant. That's the plant I mentioned earlier. That's the invader or the invasive species. Okay, you can see that it's coming up early and it's taking up a lot of real estate along the soil. Right? So it is, right? Because if it's growing there, something else can grow there, right? Good. But somebody did find another indicator of spring that did not come. Yeah, look up, folks. You see that tree over there with all the red at top?
Oh yeah. There's also one right there.
Are those leaves? No. It's this. What are these things?
Seeds.
It's not the time of year for seeds, right? Because it's spring. It's buds of what? Not leaves. Come over here if I need you. Okay, pass this around until someone can figure out what that is. Look at it closely.
I still like
Stewardship. Raise your hand if you recognize that word, stewardship. Do you know what it means?
Not really, but I remember how it explains. But not really.
Okay, stewardship means that you step into a role of caring for something or someplace else. So we are going to be stewards of this place right now by helping to remove, not Stewart, the name, but steward with a D, by helping to remove an invasive species. So if you look out into the leaves, that is sensitive, but if you look out into the leaves,
Mustard, I'm guessing.
well, it's in the mustard family. That's why it has the
Why does it smell like a trash?
It smells like garlic,
Toss it up.
which is how it has its name.
Yep. But then they added mustard. Did we just toss it up?
All right.
Can you eat this?
No, do not eat it. Boys and girls, eyes this way again. Oh, that's a very important question. He just says, is this poisonous?
Mr. Williams, I want to show you something. This was dead in my yard.
They're all pulling out garlic mustard.
I didn't get the root.
Community service in our hike today.
Oh my God!
We've learned about how it's so invasive and takes over, doesn't allow the native plants to grow.
Some of them are a little bit more stuck. Make sure you get the root.
Wait in a bag! Hey, why Miss Nelson, why I didn't know. I thought that was a leaf. I thought that was a leaf.
This is a great time to pull it because it has not gone to seed yet and it's just beginning. Identifying it early and pulling it out early. Helping the native plants in Mirror Lake State Park. There's a great overlook here. Echo Rock.
It's so nice that we get two living ones. That's gonna be nice.
I did not need to go down there. I didn't want to.
There's a big mound here with a trail around it and sandstone bluffs.
I have a question. These rocks, the trail is narrow, so don't push. We'll go single file around the echo line. Look at these roots, you guys.
That's like stairs.
Isn't that amazing?
Could I climb up here?
Yeah,
We've come here in winter and there's
steps.
been icicles.
Yeah.
Hey, what? I can't remember, but I used to know. Yeah, Mallard. That's it. Mallard. Yeah, Mallard. What am I on? Talking. The male's the one with the green head.
I actually took that.
And the Daffy Duck is one of those. That yeah. Saw. What?
Want to join the picture?
No.
Okay.
No, thank you. I can be in the back. Mr. Williams, this moss is so soft.
Oh my god, you covered up my I got a picture. Actually, this is where I was right here.
Oh, Johnny!
One of the beautiful bridges within the last few years next to Ishnala. It's a great overlook.
Okay.
Now this is going to be Miss Steve's class
When you're dehydrated,
going on the hike.
or Max, when you're dehydrated and
They've
tired,
come
you're
back
turning to
from the
Hannah.
beach all energized.
What? You listen to me?
He never went to the show
Yes, I am.
They're coming to the beginning of the hike.
We're gonna hike to it.
Oh, what does it do? Echo?
There is a spot. You can plan what you're gonna shout. It works best when it's like one syllable.
Oh, we can't
Yellow.
Pink. Yes.
All right. So, Miss Steve's class, you guys just recently have been in more like relaxation mode, right? Hanging out mode, playing mode. We are switching at this time to school mode. So if you've got a big stick, leave it on the edge. We have some, that means you and you. On our hike today, we have a few important goals. Okay? One of them is that we are going to get a better sense of ecology. Does anyone know what that is? Ecology? You ever heard that word before? All right, so listen to the beginning of the word. What's the beginning of the word ecology? Eco, what does that mean?
Ecosystem.
Ecosystems, right? Like the whole natural system, the living things, and the non-living things. So raise your hand and tell me one non-living thing that is part of what's around here in nature. Yep.
Bark.
Yeah, bark. Well,
Bark is
plants never alive. That's part of nature. Yeah.
a rock.
Rocks, good. Like this rock?
Yeah.
No, that's man-made. We want to focus on the nature stuff. But good, there's one more important one.
Turn around and stop talking.
One more important one. I want to hear from someone I didn't hear from yet. Like, tell me one more non-living thing in nature besides rocks. Can you think of any others? Me. Do you want some help from your classmates? Yeah, tell me one.
Science.
But that's not part of nature. We made those. Yep. Okay, soil. I think that's invasive. Okay, I normally would never harm a little plant. But this is a seedling. Do you see the roots?
Yeah.
Okay, and then it just has the 2 immature leaves. It's not even true leaves yet. Okay, a seed has just sprouted. And when you walk past here, you can see that, I mean, there's hundreds of these. These are sprouts of a plant called garlic mustard. And it's a plant that is not originally from Wisconsin, and it is taking over. So this first section of the trail is paved. So as we go along the trail, I'd like you to look for a couple things. Look for these little seedlings. This is the little bit more grown up version of that plant. Okay. So this is the invasive plant. But also look and see how many others you see, because we may find that we're going to see a lot of that and not much of anything else. Okay. One last thing to look for in this part of the trail.
Starting to bud out leaves.
Okay. All right, raise your hand if you saw moss as you were traveling. If you saw seedlings of plants. If you saw buds on branches. Okay, these are all beautiful spring things. Raise your hand if you bothered to look up. Do it now if you haven't. Do you see how some of the trees have red up top?
Yeah.
Okay, this is another important sign of spring. I've got a couple of them here that have fallen. So I asked, what do you think these are? And somebody said leaves. And I said, nope.
No, I think it's growing up more.
They're buds, but not for leaves. Some leaves, buds become leaves, but other buds become, what do you think?
Trees.
Well,
Flowers.
a seed would become a tree, but not a bud. Yep.
Flowers.
Good. I'm going to pass these around. They're little, so be careful. But these are tree flowers, right? Trees make seeds just like other plants. Good. All right. So here's why we've really stopped in this area. I told you guys that part of the reason why you're here is to help nature today, right? Because what is Friday?
Earth Day.
Earth Day, you're right. So we're going to do something today that is going to be a big help. Check out the ground right in front of me. There's some moss, and then there's a whole lot of this plant. Scannel all along the edge. It's all this plant.
What is that?
What is that? And why is it everywhere? I've already pulled one, so I'll show you this. And I'll give you a chance to also, this is 2 actually. I'll give you a chance to smell the leaves. And crush it in your hand. A lot of people don't like the smell. Pass it to your neighbor.
It smells good. No.
Some people like the smell.
It smells
Okay, it smells like garlic.
Garlic mustard.
It smells like
Yeah, this.
Smells like mint.
I would have believed. All right.
all the scent stuff.
Eyes this way so I don't have to shout over you. Fifth graders. So, garlic mustard smells like garlic. Don't eat this. Do you know if this has been sprayed with chemicals? No. Probably best not to eat it then, right? But garlic mustard was from Europe, and it was brought here because people did eat it. People that were settlers brought it from Europe and planted it in their gardens because they thought it tasted good like garlic. They'd chop it up, add it in with their veggies, and they were very happy. Until the seeds that spread from this plant started taking over in the woods. And now it is spread all across North America. It sprouts up first in the spring, and guess how many seeds one of these can produce? If you have a guess, raise your hand. Yeah, what do you think?
1 million.
Less.
100.
More.
More. Oh, 1,000.
It can produce up to 1,000 seeds. That's not even a joke. Okay. So, is the leaf bumpy or smooth?
Bumpy.
Okay, what color do you see in amongst the stem besides green?
Red. Brown.
It's like, I don't know, I think it's kind of purplish.
Purplish.
Yeah. The leaves are a little bit, our stems are a little bit furry. Okay. heart-shaped leaves. If you're not sure, you can smell, right? When you pull this plant out, you want to grab the whole thing and grab it by this root. Do you see the root? How it's kind of thick on the top? So you just reach a little ways into the soil, grab the roots, not the leaves, the root. Wiggle it just a little bit. Oh. Now, if this happens, it's not ideal. You see how the root broke? Sometimes it can grow back from the root like that. So if this happens, try to get the rest of the root if you can. But our ideal situation is that the whole plant comes back.
Mrs. Steve's group collecting garlic mustard. Kids really seem to be getting into this. It's great to see.
Oh my God, look at this one. We found one!
Oh, it's Johnny.
Some more over here.
I've like. Where's the back?
They're not only identifying it by the leaf and the stems, but also by the smell, which is really cool to be doing that, identifying it in so many different ways.
I got a big plant. Do we have like seconds? Do you want me to take it from here?
Yeah, sure.
There's something yellow
Gotta be careful to get only garlic mustard, not any of the other plants that are
Burger. Is this garlic mustard? I'm just trying to help. Turn it here.
Wow.
It's two. Oh, thank you.
My hand stinks now.
Oh, there's a whole lot over here. Grab the whole lot of Everyone can get 5 more. Every person, 5 more to fill this bag before we go.
Cool, nice job.
So much over here.
How many seeds
Oh
can
my
one
goodness.
plant produce?
1,000.
1,000. How many plants do we have in here?
No clue.
Hundreds? Yeah, a couple hundred. So that's a lot of seeds that you save.
started pulling over
Probably over a couple million by the time.
Right? I mean, you guys have made a big difference here. So I want to thank you for your 15 minutes of work because this really makes a difference. And if you're out in spring with your families and find garlic mustard, then now you can teach them what it looks like. And you can even collect some as an Earth Day project on the weekend. So thank you so much for your hard work. Should we keep exploring? Yeah. Let's go.
Now we're at the Echo Rock with Miss Steve's class. They like this overlook.
Raise your hand if you remember the name of
Maybe put your hand here.
Echo Rock. Yeah, good. Okay, this is the Echo Rock Trail. So we are about to walk around Echo Rock, which is a super beautiful area. But before we do that, I want to give you a chance to experience the echo part of it. But that means that everyone needs to be close by and listening, not off doing your own things. Standing up, close by listening. Count to 3, and all of us at once are going to say, listen. Do you want to do it, or you'd rather just? Okay. So when I count to 3, we're going to say really short, hey, okay? All of us. But I want to demonstrate just me and you listen for what the echo's like. Because if you drag it out or make all crazy sounds, we're not going to hear the echo. But when we do hear the echo, it's really cool. So I will demonstrate just me and then we'll all do it. You'll line up against the fence and we'll do it. Okay. All right. Everyone listening?
Yeah, mine are nasty.
Hey! Hey! Did you do it? All right. So I'm going to count to 3 and we'll say a nice short hey, get along the fence. Feet on the ground though. Here, I'll step up. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hey! Oh, that was awesome, you guys. Well done. We need a single file line. Still not a single file line? You can wait on the bench, I don't mind. But if you're going to come around this rock, you need to be trustworthy. I still don't see a single file line. Thank you, you guys. So when we go around this rock, we're going to get really close to beautiful sandstone. So you'll be able to touch it. There's some kind of cave looking areas, but there's also living thing on the rock. So as we pass, if you see anything that's gray or greenish looking or bluish looking, that is all moss and lichen. So don't pick that off. It's okay to touch it, just don't pick that. We'll keep in our single file line and we'll just slowly make our way around.
It's like coral.
Don't vote on it.
There are people in there. I mean, this is all eroded from the steam shower.
I mean, it's not really a... Oh, yeah, it's kind of...
Hey, bestie.
Sometime you might...
I've been in one of these in the water.
Oh, you can like... I'm not gonna jump in.
We're gonna jump?
No,
Oh.
I'm not. Go on. Wait.
Somebody burned that? Probably not the best choice.
It's okay. Nothing. Oh my god, it's shaking. I cannot do it.
We're on the bridge again.
It's stable, Addie!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 4 cars could go on this. They can't take me.
Been a lot of hiking
Do I have to
today.
get up?
I think we wore them out. We'll see.
Let's enjoy this beautiful weather.
Our gate closed as we finish our hike from Echo Rock.
Get that!
Who just littered my bag?
Been a lot of hiking, but a great day.